Governor MATAWALLE of ZAMFARA State directs people of ZAMFARA to accept all ordinary notes. The Independent National Electoral Commission accredits over 146,000 election observers. Federal High Court begins 5-day break over elections. On the business update, federal government reopens shut oil wells, projects 29 trillion naira annual revenue. On international scene, another earthquake hit Turkey's Hatay province. And in sport update, the Nigeria under-20 national team lost their opening group game against Senegal. Hello and welcome to Tenet Voice Television Newsroom. I'm Mukutha Muhammad. ZAMFARA State Governor Bello Muhammad Matawalle has directed citizens in the state to continue using the old 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes alongside the old 200 naira notes. The governor personally made the announcement through the state-owned radio station and made available on new media platforms by his media aides. He said they are in talks with President Muhammadu Buhari on the matter and it will be resolved soon. He therefore called on traders and other businessmen to accept the old naira notes as money and means of transaction. However, he said the banks have every right to wait for directives from their various head offices before they accept the old notes of 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes respectively. The Commissioner of Police ZAMFARA State Command, CP Kolo Yusuf, on behalf of the Inspector General of Police, presented checks worth 11 million naira to next of kins of 17 police officers who lost their lives while fighting bandits in ZAMFARA State. The checks presentation was part of the IGP's Group Life Family Welfare Insurance Schemes. For more on the story, Zainab Abdulwasi, who has the details.
According to a press release issued by the Command Public Relations Officer, SP Muhammad Shehu, the Commissioner appreciated the Inspector General of Police for his persistent concern to the welfare of serving, retired as well as families of late police officers. The SP described the gesture as timely, which will go a long way in alleviating the suffering being encountered by the families of deceased officers, and will equally boost the morale of the serving personnel to continue to put in their best in the ongoing campaign against activities of criminal elements across the country. Zainab Abdulwasi, you reporting for Standard Voice Television.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has accredited 146,913 election observers to participate in the forthcoming national and states elections in the country. This was disclosed by the chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, at the briefing of accredited observers held at the International Conference Center in Abuja on Tuesday. Professor Yakubu declared that 144,800 individuals from 196 national domestic groups and 2,113 individuals from 33 international organizations were duly accredited by the Commission. The chairman said, in line with the global best practice, electoral commissions in most jurisdictions invite national and international organizations to deploy observers or organize study tours for election managers during elections. As a consequence, observers submit reports to electoral commissions highlighting strengths and weaknesses of processes arising from the study tours. The reports and recommendations of observers and the knowledge from the study tours helps electoral commissions to progressively improve processes. The Nigerian Union of Journalists and NUJ Niger State Council has created election situation room at IBB Penthouse, Mina, ahead of Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections. For more on the story, our correspondent Alamin has the details.
A statement by the State Secretary of NUJ, Comrade Usman Chizi, said the situation room will be chaired by the Council Chairman, Comrade Abu Mudu, Secretary Usman Chizi, and Assistant Secretary Abubakar Adamu Kutu. The statement indicated that the situation room was created to primarily receive report from journalists covering the election in all parts of the state. According to the statement, the measure was also enable journalists file a report of maltreatment, intimidation or harassment while carrying out their constitutional responsibility during this Saturday presidential and March 11 governorship and state assembly elections. Alami Ibrahim Dusara reporting for SBTV.
Governor Babagana Umar Zulum on Tuesday handed over 9 armored personnel carriers to the Borno Command of the Nigerian Police Force to increase their capacity in crime prevention and responses. Commissioner of the Police in the state, Abdul Umar, received the armored personnel carriers during a brief ceremony held in Maiduguri. Governor Zulum at the presentation commended the Borno Police Command and other security establishments for their extreme commitment in the fight against Boko Haram and preventing other crimes across the 27 local government areas of the state. Reports say that Governor Zulum has in nearly 4 years released more than 1,300 patrol vehicles to a combination of the military, police, DSS, the paramilitary and the volunteers and the civilian JTF, hunters and vigilantes who have formations in all of the Borno's 27 local government areas. The Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Soho, directed the court's justices to sit up till Wednesday, February 22nd, before proceeding on break. The Federal High Court of Nigeria will begin a 5-day break from Wednesday in view of Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections. They are to resume on Tuesday, February 28, 3 days after the polls. The break will allow the judges to vote in the elections scheduled to elect the president and vice president and members of the Senate and House of Representatives. Gunmen on Tuesday night attacked a popular radio station, Wish FM 99.5, and the Atlantic Television Network in Ozu Oba in the Obio and Akbo local government areas of River State with explosive devices suspected to be dynamite as well as sporadic gunshots. The incident, which occurred around 8:40 p.m., led to the destruction of some equipment and property in the facility which houses the two media outfits owned by a member of the House of Representatives, Mrs. Chinyere Igwe. Mrs. Igwe is also an ardent supporter of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. When contacted on Wednesday morning, Mrs. Igwe confirmed the incident, saying that what she was happy about is that no life was lost. Now on business update. The federal government is reviving shut-in crude oil wells in a bid to produce about 2.1 million barrels of oil daily, with an estimated worth of 2.4 trillion naira monthly from various drilling facilities in the Niger Delta. Data obtained from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission in Abuja on Tuesday showed that about 900,000 barrels of oil per day could be produced from quick interventions on the shut-in wells, while the medium and long-term initiatives could add 1.2 million barrels of oil daily. This implies that about 2.1 million barrels of oil per day, or 63 million barrels monthly, would be produced from the facilities. With an average price of $83 per barrel for Brent, the global benchmark for crude, the government would earn about $5.23 billion monthly, 2.41 trillion naira at the official exchange rate of 460.97 naira per dollar through oil production from the shut-in wells currently being revived. Now on international scene.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
A new earthquake shook southern Turkey and northwestern Syria on Monday evening, spreading panic among survivors and trapping people under more collapsed buildings. This comes 2 weeks after a devastating double tremor destroyed more than 100,000 buildings, killed more than 46,000 people and displaced over 1 million. The 6.3 magnitude quake struck near the town of Ozumberg in Turkey's Hatay province just after 5 p.m. local time, according to the United States Geological Survey. The same province suffered widespread damage in the 7.8 magnitude quake that struck before dawn on February 6th, followed by a powerful 7.5 magnitude aftershock a few hours later. The shake on Monday spread terror across the quake zone, where many people traumatized by the earlier disaster are staying in tents and sleeping in their cars, escaping a repeat of the quake in their buildings. According to reports, the Sheraton Hotel in the city of Adana, where a number of buildings had collapsed in the initial quake, families crammed into elevators with their luggage to evacuate the buildings. Now on sport update. The Nigeria under-20 national team lost their opening group game against Senegal and cannot afford another stumble on match day 2. Nigeria's Flying Eagles have a huge mountain to climb when they trade tackles with host Egypt in both countries' second match at the Under-20 Africa Cup of the Nations. The Waffle B champions suffered an agonizing 1-0 defeat to West African brothers Senegal on match day 1 after failing to recover from Suleiman Faye's opportunistic first-half strike. Egypt were only slightly better, though, as the young Pharaohs were held to an uninspiring goalless draw by less fancied Mozambique. But against Nigeria, the North Africans will be desperate to secure the win that will calm the nerves of their football-loving home fans. The Flying Eagles, however, cannot afford to suffer a second consecutive defeat that could untimely spell the end of their adventure at the 17th edition of the Biennial African International Youth Football Tournament. That's all we have in news update for today, but before we go, a recap of the major headlines. Governor MATAWALLE of Zamfara State directs people of Zamfara to accept all old NAIRA notes. The Independent National Electoral Commission accredits over 146,000 election observers. Federal High Court begins 5-day break over elections. On the business update, federal government reopens shut oil wells, projects 29 trillion naira annual revenue. On international scene, another earthquake hit Turkey's Hatay province. And in sport update, the Nigeria under-20 national team lost their opening group game against Senegal. Thanks for watching. That's the news. I'm Muhammad. You have a nice day.